This episode of the Old Dogs REI Network is brought to you by Mino Studio. Welcome to the Old Dogs REI Network, where cash flow is king. Real estate investing, the means, so you can enjoy your retirement dreams. This is the show where we cut right to the chase. No sales pitch, no long monologues, just simple how-to real estate investing advice, so you can earn the passive income you need to enjoy your retirement today. And now, your host and chief old dog, Bill Manassero.
Hello, old dogs, and welcome to
Fun Facts Friday.
This is our once-a-week, only on Friday show, where we have special episodes not featuring guests, where I will share tricks, tips, terminology, and techniques that will help skyrocket you to real estate investing success. Today's topic is getting back to basics. But before we get started, I'm just touching base with you guys and making sure everyone's doing great. Starting to cool off a little bit here in Southern California. It was like down to 46. I know some of you guys in like Michigan and Minnesota, places like that, are probably going, 46, man, I'm out in the water swimming with my shorts. But I know in California, that's really cold. But I know, sound like a big baby, but forget it. I just, we're coming up on December, which, believe it or not, is one of the slowest. I guess you probably could figure that logically, but it's one of the slowest real estate periods. And because of all the holiday activity, all the things going on, year end, all, tax things putting together, all this stuff, a lot fewer people are buying houses. And sometimes you can find some good deals. So it's something to consider. But it also is a little harder to look for homes because not that many people are listing as they normally would during the, the prime periods. But anyway, I hope you're doing well on your real estate investing. And I'm going to be doing some things here and shows ahead, and just to try to get back to the basics is what I was talking about today. But before I do that, I'm going to give you the tip of the week. It's a simple one. Audible.com. Okay, this is not a commercial, and I'm not getting anything from this, but Audible is one of the best resources, especially if you are in a car a lot, if you take the train or you take other vehicles or places or airplane rides where you have a lot of excess time. It's such a joy. I can learn so much, especially, in real estate, but also just for pleasure too. But for real estate, just to get educated, to, any general business books and so forth, that my guest will mention that I really want to read, I can just plug on my, put my earbuds in and cruise and learn so much, just while I'm being transported or transporting myself. Great resource. And I have it so that it automatically deducts each month from my account so that I can go in there and buy whatever I want really quickly and just to click without having to worry about, you're doing the payment and all that stuff. So it's a great resource. If you're in the process where you're learning and you're being educated, and hopefully that's all the time as a real estate investor, you'll get a lot of value out of Audible. So look that up if you don't already have it. Anyway, let's jump into our topic, getting back to basics. As I was mentioning, this is something that's really important for us. I think we need to kind of take a step back because there are so many different things going on in real estate and in the economy right now. I know that, many people are concerned about the future, and they're not on the future. I think there's a lot of people concerned about the present. There's a lot of folks that are unemployment is still high, and I know that's increased by the number of people, especially first responders, that are required to get vaccinations that are not and are basically out of work right now. Then there's just the economy. Inflation is just going crazy. Gas here in California is ridiculous. Home costs are still really high, and our country is going into debt deeper and deeper, and the financial uncertainty is just really strong right now for a lot of people. And a lot of people are asking, what does that mean for me? As you're looking ahead to retirement, some of you are looking ahead, of you are already retired, but that's kind of like, is Social Security going to still be here? That helps some people. Some people survive off of that right now. And then if they cut things like that, what will my life be like? If you're looking at retiring, especially, and wondering, gosh, can I even do this? Will my money last me the whole time that I'm going to be retired? I mean, the good news is people are living longer. Yay, but can I endure and survive through that process? Or what if I need assisted living, and how much is that going to cost, and how will I pay for it? Can I retire? And if not, how long can I realistically keep working? And I know there are people that are extending, and they're working into their 70s and beyond. And do you want to do that? I mean, are you okay with doing that? Are you doing it out of necessity? Will I be able to enjoy my retirement years, or just survive? And what about when I'm gone? Will I have anything left to leave to my kids or grandkids and so forth? So these are a lot of the questions that I had back in 2014 when I was in the mission field, and I was trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to do. I'm coming back to the States. I'm already approaching 60 at that time, and I'm thinking, what can I do? I mean, am I going to be able to find a job? Do I want to find a job? I mean, I had some money tucked away for retirement, but it wouldn't have sustained me. And so I looked at all of my alternatives. And those of you that know my story know that, I looked at going into business, because I started businesses and I knew how to do that. And I grappled with different things while I was in Haiti. I tried online businesses and different things just to see how that might work, and just looking at all avenues, and finally, just arrived at real estate investing. And I thought, well, this could be the answer to not only provide cash flow in my retirement years, but to build up a legacy and something that I can hand down to my kids. So that's where I moved. And if you're listening to this show, well, you're probably considering that yourself. You may already be doing it. You may be very accomplished at it, or you may just be kind of weighing it out and seeing what it's all about. So what I wanted to do is just take a look at sort of the basics. If you are in that place where you're evaluating and you're trying to answer some of these questions that I've proposed here, there are some key things that you can do. I'm going to be talking about in the next week or so, putting together a strategic real estate investment plan for you as an investor. And I think it's really smart to have a plan if you do decide to go into real estate investing, and not just buy a property and try it and see how that goes. No, the more focused you are and the more directed you are, I think the more effective it's going to be for you. And I talk from experience, because I didn't think it out as well as I should have when I started out. And so in this Fun Fact Friday today, I'm going to just talk about some of the basics and some of the things you need to consider. This is something we could talk on and on and on about in terms of how to get started in real estate investing. But I think, the key thing is there's like 4 key steps that you should do. And the first one is education /research. really important to dig into it and see what you're getting into if you want to go into real estate investing. The second is mentorship. And I know a lot of people go, oh man, what does that mean? What does that involve? And I'll get into that a little bit too. The other is the planning aspect that I talked to you about, really key. And then the fourth is the hardest, and that is actually taking action, actually taking that step and getting started. Let's take a look at those four areas right here. Education and research is of critical importance. The more you know, the less likely it will be that you will have any major mistakes. And you'll hopefully do your research in such a way to look at the possibilities of problems. If I do jump into it, let's say I become a landlord, am I going to have to deal with tenants' toilets and trash? And if I do, what is that like? And you should be talking to other investors, people that are doing these things, to get their feedback. Now, so the idea here in your research and in your sort of discovery period is to just look at all the options. Now, real estate isn't just rental properties either. Real estate is, it can be passive investing. It can be, it can be buying notes and, never even really dealing with tenants. There's a lot of different options there. There's flipping and there's wholesaling and there's tons and tons of different types of real estate investing that can all be very lucrative. So let me just, in this area of research, just let you know up front. First off, there's a lot of research you can do without having to spend a dime. And you really shouldn't have to, because there's so many resources online. It's just crazy. So now warning, most of the people providing this info, sometimes, online, there's going to be some sort of a link there, and they may be selling something. It may ultimately leading to some big program where you're going to have to, buy coaching or whatever. And you don't have to always do that. There's plenty of stuff that's available. I would recommend getting some books. I mentioned the Audible books, or actually buying, books online through Amazon. We have in our library on the Old Dogs website at olddogsreinetwork.com a wealth of information. I mean, a ton of stuff. There's almost 600 podcasts there alone, let alone all the blog articles and other resources there that you can get absolutely free. And it'd be more stuff that you could possibly consume in a month or two or three. It's a lot of stuff. But that's available for you. We do have a top 20 real estate investing books, the books that I recommend that would be great resources for you if you're getting started. If you haven't read it already, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a great sort of a mindset, not really a real estate book, but it talks to you about mindset, and it gets you to look at assets in a different way. There's also Cash Flow Quadrant, which is even better yet, gets into a little bit more of the details of it. And then there are, a lot of other, different types of books that can, that get into specifics about, flipping houses or, investing in raw land or whatever that topic may be. As you start to explore, start taking notes on the things that you think you would like and you wouldn't like. Some people say, I never want to be a landlord. I would hate to have to deal with that in the middle of the night, get a call at 3 a.m. and go clean somebody's toilet out. And that doesn't always have to happen if you're a landlord. There's, a lot of us get property managers to take care of things like that. But at the same time, you might not even want the idea of the headache with that. So other good resources, biggerpockets.com. There's plenty of free ebooks online as well. There's blogs, there's articles, there's all kinds of stuff, special reports, tons of great podcasts out there. And YouTube is just rich with all kinds of stuff. So the research, the discovery part of this is pretty extensive, and there's a lot there. And so you might want to even allocate time in the morning or time in the evening just to go through and start researching. Now, I would recommend getting a notebook, filling it through with paper. Some people don't, this is old school. Get a notebook. People are going, I've got a phone. I don't need a notebook. But whatever your methodology is, to start collecting the data so that you can review it and you can look back at it and start weighing things out, if this is what you would like to do. But this is how you decide, that is by putting the information together. If you do decide to go into real estate investing, then I highly recommend that you get a mentor. And there's all kinds of different types of mentors out there. I think it's really, just really key that you have someone who has experience that is in your world here in real estate that can talk to you about it, because they've been there and they've done that. So getting that person in there, whether it is a coach that you're paying money to, or whether it's somebody you meet at a local meeting. And I do recommend, you get out there and find local meetups, real estate meetups, where there are other investors and there's people that have that same mindset and interest, and you can start exchanging business cards. Make some business cards for yourself as soon as you can, and just to get, be able to drop that off. And I know everybody's electronic nowadays, so you don't have to do that. But I think, there's something to me. I like to hold on to something and look back on the card, because I write notes on them too. So I'll meet somebody and I'll say, hey, this guy's into lease options, I want to find out more, or here's a hard money lender that I might want to know about, those kinds of things. So, start getting out there. Maybe it's once a month, maybe it's once a week, whatever you can, but it's good to start meeting people. I recommend going on biggerpockets.com and start searching for people in your specific area. If you find somebody, connect with somebody, say, hey, can I meet you buy a cup of coffee, or and start making connections that way. Start building up your relationship pool, because those are, relationships are really key. And I say that's more important. A lot of people say it's location in real estate. I think it's relationships, because that's where you build. That's where you partner. That's where you get investors. That's where there's a lot of things that come through that, the benefits of good networking. So that's a really key thing. And then next, I would recommend, starting to outline the idea of a plan. Now, I think in that process, in your research, you should narrow in to where you want to be. Because when I first started, I thought I was going to be a flipper. And now I was in Haiti. I don't know how, from Port-au-Prince, Haiti, I was going to flip houses in Kansas City, Missouri. But I was, thinking that, flipping would be great because you can make this big pile of cash. And well, anyway, I went through a lot of different things that I wanted to be, and I bought, my bookshelves were filled with programs and home study courses and things like this. And as I read and got into it deeper, I said, that didn't make a lot of sense. Although people do flip remotely, and I actually have some guests coming up on a really good shows coming up where guys that are doing that in a different country, even flipping homes in the U.S. So it can be done, but you have to really look at where you're comfortable, and then you zero in on whatever that is. And if you say, hey, I'm going to be building a rental portfolio, which is what I decided to do, then you can put the plan together. How are you going to do that? How many homes do you need to be able to retire? And so how much can, you have to kind of break it down, and this is part of the planning process is, I look at a price per door. So if I buy a home, or whether I buy an apartment with multiple doors or units, I look at how much per unit or door I have to generate in order to be able to be financially independent. And so all those factors go into your plan. And how do you market, and how do you find those, the whole acquisition and finding emerging markets, good markets where you can go into, where there are great properties available that you can generate income from. And also in that plan too, it's how do you get started? What kind of money do you have available to get started? Some may have nothing. And there are ways to get started when you have absolutely no money whatsoever in real estate. I don't know any other business that you can do that in, but you can do it in real estate. But it's a little bit harder, and you got to work a lot harder to get those opportunities. But you get your budget together, you get your plan together. Maybe you're going to say, hey, I'm going to buy a house a month for the next 3 years or whatever it may be. And that becomes part of your plan. But you have to have all of the other steps that lead up to that as well. So making a plan, I think, is really key. You in there, you'll decide if you're going to invest locally or out of state, or, a lot of the components that go with that. And then there's the idea of, where the fund's going to come from. There's also a whole tax element to real estate. And that's one of the greatest things about it. Now, I've been doing real estate now for over 6 years, and I have not had to pay taxes in that 6-year period. And yet I've been acquiring properties and generating income, and it's been wonderful. I hope nobody from the IRS is listening, but that's one of the benefits of real estate, is that there are tons of tax advantages to this too. So you have to plan that out. Do you want to invest from within an IRA account, or a self-directed IRA or 401k? Just all the aspects of that. Do you want to leverage by buying a property and then fixing it up, adding value to that property, and then refinancing it? There's this whole BRRRR strategy that was developed through Bigger Pockets. It talks about, buying a property and rehabbing it and fixing it up and refinancing it, and then, renting it out. I mean, all these elements, all of that is part of your strategy. I know it may sound a little overwhelming, but it's really not. You can watch one podcast or listen to one podcast or watch one YouTube video and get a good idea of what's involved in those ideas. Are you going to have to do a no money down strategy? And if so, how is that going to work? And you got to do the math, and you got to understand how to analyze properties, or how to analyze any kind of potential deal. And then the hardest thing, I mentioned this in the beginning here, the hardest thing is just taking action and just doing it. And that's, to me, the key thing. And that's where a lot of people get hung up. They think, well, I don't know enough yet. I haven't learned enough. And yeah, you do have to get a good base education. I think that's important. But you can also use that as an excuse, too, for never getting started. So the idea is taking that first step, getting that first property or acquiring that first deal, whatever it may be, doing that first flip. And once you've done that first step, once you've taken that step and you've done the first thing, then you're on your way. You realize, that really wasn't that hard. In fact, I think I kind of underestimated my plan. I think I could do more of these. And so a lot of things happen in that step. That's where I really believe the real learning starts, is after you get your first, property, your first deal. You may, maybe you're doing an arbitrage Airbnb thing where you don't even actually own the property, but you're operating Airbnbs all around the state or all over the city or wherever it may be. You can do all of these different ideas, but within that plan, you need to just get in there and see what's involved. And that's when you really start learning. And that's why it's really important to have this plan, because to me, it's like a living document that you have to, take notes and you revise things and you go, oh man, I thought I'd get this kind of a direct mail response, but really this is what I got. And so you adapt it, and your returns kind of shape your acquisition policies and so forth. So there's a lot there, but the idea is to, if you're really, really interested in doing it, go through these 4 steps, and then boom, you're ready to go. You do that first transaction, whatever it may be, whatever your strategy may be. And then there's a whole series of additional steps that will help you to leverage and to be able to grow and to diversify and to do other things that can help you to be successful as a real estate investor. Well, that's it for today. Please note everything I talked about, and I'm going to have some links in there too. So when I talk about a particular area, you'll be able to click on it and either read an article or listen to a podcast. It'll give you additional information. So that should help you out. But that's everything will be in our show notes at olddogsreinetwork.com/blog. And you're going to look for the episode entitled Getting Back to Basics. Well, that's the show for today. Remember, cash flow is king and real estate investing the means. Until next time, keep moving forward, and may God bless.
Thank you very much for visiting the Old Dogs REI Network. We would greatly appreciate if you would stop by iTunes and let us know what you think of the show. We would love if you could subscribe to the podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and write a review. The more ratings and reviews we receive, the more visible the podcast will be to others. Thank you.